Have you ever gazed up at the moon and wondered what it would feel like to leap across its surface? Imagine standing outside on a clear night, the silvery glow of the moon lighting up the sky, and picturing yourself defying gravity with every jump. It's a question that's fascinated dreamers, scientists, and astronauts alike for generations. Here on Earth, gravity is a force we feel every single day. It keeps us grounded, pulls apples from trees, and makes every jump a challenge. When you leap, you can almost feel the invisible hand of gravity tugging you back down, making sure you don't float away. But what if that force was suddenly much, much weaker? Picture this. You're at the park or in the gym, and you give your best jump. Maybe you get a few inches off the ground, maybe a foot if you're really athletic. It's fun, but gravity always wins, pulling you back to Earth in a split second. Now imagine doing that same jump on the moon. Suddenly, you're not just hopping, you're soaring. Your body lifts off the ground in slow motion, and for a moment it feels like you're flying. It's almost as if you're in a dream, moving through the air with barely any effort at all. That's because the moon's gravity is only about 1/6 as strong as Earth's. In other words, you could jump 6 times higher there than you ever could here. It's not just a small difference, it's a total game changer for how you move. Let's break down the numbers for a second. Earth's gravity is 9.8 meters per second squared. That's the force pulling you down every time you jump, run, or even just stand still. It's what gives us weight and keeps our feet planted firmly on the ground. On the moon, though, gravity is just 1.6 meters per second squared. That's a tiny fraction of what we're used to. With such a gentle pull, your jumps become epic. You move with a lightness and grace that's impossible on Earth. Every step feels like you're bouncing on a giant trampoline, and you can cover huge distances with minimal effort. Think about how heavy your legs can feel after a long day, or how much effort it takes to jump just a little higher during a workout. On Earth, gravity makes every movement a bit of a struggle. But on the moon, it's the opposite. You feel almost weightless, like you could leap and float forever. Walking turns into bouncing, and running becomes a series of graceful, floating strides. You don't just walk, you float, bounce, and drift, almost as if you're underwater but without any resistance. Remember those iconic Apollo mission videos? The astronauts looked like they were having the time of their lives, hopping and bouncing across the lunar surface. Their movements were slow, exaggerated, and almost cartoonish. But that's just how physics works in low gravity. When the first astronauts landed, they couldn't believe how easy it was to move. They felt like superheroes, able to leap and bound in ways that would be impossible back home. Every step was an adventure, every jump a thrill. They could jump, move, and even glide across the surface, exploring craters and rocks with a sense of freedom that's hard to describe. The moon turned into their personal playground, where the rules of movement were completely rewritten. Their movements looked slow and controlled, but they were powerful, leaping over craters, gliding with every step, and making the most of that lunar low gravity. It was like being in a sci-fi movie, except it was real life. Of course, it took some getting used to. The first few steps were awkward, and a few astronauts even stumbled as they learned to balance in this new environment. But once they got the hang of it, every move looked epic, like slow-motion action heroes exploring a brand new world. Now let's bring it back to you. Imagine if you could jump that high. What would you do first? Would you try to leap over a crater, or maybe race your friends in a slow-motion moon sprint? Here's a fun fact. If you can jump 1 meter high on Earth, that same jump on the moon would send you soaring up to 6 meters. That's not just a little hop. That's a leap worthy of a superhero. 6 meters is about the height of a 2-story building. Imagine standing on the ground and with a single jump reaching the roof of your house. It's almost unbelievable, but that's the magic of lunar gravity. Picture yourself effortlessly leaping over your house, landing softly on the other side and barely breaking a sweat. It's the kind of superpower we've all dreamed about, and on the moon, it's actually possible. So next time you're outside at night, take a moment to look up at the moon. Let your imagination run wild. Picture yourself bouncing across its dusty surface, hopping over craters, and exploring a world where gravity can't hold you back. The moon isn't just a distant rock in the sky, it's a place where the impossible becomes possible. If you'd love to experience that kind of freedom, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And tell me in the comments, if you could jump 6 times higher, what's the very first thing you'd do on the moon? Would you race, explore, or just bounce for fun? I can't wait to read your answers and see what wild adventures you'd dream up. Thanks for watching, and remember, keep reaching for the stars because you never know how high you can go until you try.